Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot minute since I've been on here, so let me just explain where I've been for like the past month. August has been a little bit crazy for me. So the first weekend of August, I went up to the Sunshine Coast here to visit my parents. They have a house built up there. And I went up there with a few girlfriends for the long weekend. I did film a little bit of a weekend vlog with the girls, but there wasn't a ton of footage. I didn't do a ton of talking in the video because most of the time we were just hanging out and chilling and having a good time. But there's some like pretty fun, good B-roll with me and the girls, so that vlog should be up already. And then I came home from that, worked like crazy for the next week or so, and then I went back up to the coast again for a little over a week for more of a family vacation. My brother and his girlfriend were up there. My brother's girlfriend's cousin and his wife were up there. I had a girlfriend up there. One of my brother's friends was up there. It was a whole big party, good time. Jesse unfortunately was not able to come up. He had to stay here and work, so I was all by myself. Oh, I forgot to mention, when I got home from my girls' weekend, I was taken out by the worst sinus infection. And like, I honestly don't really get sick very often, maybe a couple times a year at most. And I've never had a sinus infection before. When I tell you, this freaking took me out. Like, everything in this region, everything hurt and felt like there was so much pressure everywhere, and like the nasal cavity, like above the roof of my mouth, was all swollen and inflamed, and it made like the inside of my mouth and my throat and everything hurt so bad. I was waking up in the middle of the night sobbing because I was in so much pain. I was on a heavy dose of Tylenol and Advil, which I normally try to only use when I absolutely need it, but I was on both extra strength Tylenol and Advil every 6 to 8 hours, because if I wasn't doing that, I was in tears from so much pain. And I went to my doctor and everything, but they don't give antibiotics for sinus infections until you've had it for like 10 to 14 days or something like that. So she just gave me like a steroid nasal spray thing. So I used that for a couple weeks, and that did seem to help. Obviously, I'm better now and it's all gone, but I was ready. Guys, I was ready to end it. It was so painful. Have you ever been in like so much pain that you just wanted to like rip that part of your body off? Because that's how I felt with my entire head. Like, I was ready to just take me to the guillotine, chop my head off. I'd be much happier. Anyways, so that took me out for like a solid week and a half. So I definitely didn't film anything for a while I was dying. And then I went back up to my parents' house again for like our family vacation portion that we do every August. And then I came back from the second vacation up there, and it's been about a week or so, and I've just been kind of settling back into a bit more of a routine for now, because it is a long weekend again now. It's Labor Day weekend, and it's Sunday. Yesterday I just relaxed because it was really my first weekend home in a month, essentially. So I needed a relax, rest, and reset kind of day yesterday. And I'm trying to kind of reset myself as much as I can, because we are going to be going to Scotland in literally 20 days, less than 3 weeks now. So trying to go through my like to-do list and get everything done before we leave. I don't think there's anything too crazy. I have to go get some keys cut for my friend who's going to come watch our cat while we're gone. Gotta basically do a whole fall cleaning of the house, make sure that everything's cleaned and organized before we leave. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of things like going on up here behind these eyeballs. There's a lot of thoughts. There's a lot going on. Anyways, so that's where I've been for the past month. I'm sorry that I've been slacking so hard with videos. I want to say that it's going to get better, but knowing that we're going to be going to Scotland in about 3 weeks, for 3 weeks, I'm going to do a lot of filming while we're in Scotland, but I probably will not be uploading really anything while we're there. I don't even know if I'll be able to edit a ton or at all while we're there. So we'll see. I don't know what that's going to look like, but hopefully between now and the time we leave, I can get at least 1 or 2 videos out. I don't know. We'll see. I try not to make promises because my life can get hectic at the drop of a dime and time just gets away from me. But we're here. We're here now. It is Sunday. I am currently in the middle of a couple books here, one on my Kindle and one physical book. So I'll tell you about those and kind of my plans for the day, because this is it pretty much. Yesterday, I ended up finishing, I was listening to an audiobook for Twilight, the first book in the Twilight series. So I finished that yesterday. That was technically my first finished book of September, and I was just listening to that on audiobook. And I also started both of these books a couple days ago, and I'm kind of going back and forth with them. So the first one is The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm currently 247 pages in, so a little over halfway. And the way that this book is formatted is it doesn't necessarily have chapters, but it has different sections based on the season of the year that they're in. And essentially this is like a cross between The Handmaid's Tale and Lord of the Flies sort of situation. So these girls, when they reach the age of 16, they are sent off into the woods for what's called a grace year, and they're meant to expel their womanly magic before they can come back to the county and be married off, essentially. And they don't get a choice whether they are married off or not, and they go through it before they're sent off into the woods. They go through this veiling ceremony where a man from their county can choose them to be their wife when they come back from their grace year. And if they are not chosen by a man to be married when they get back, then they are sent off to do hard labor, work in the fields, rather than being married and becoming essentially a vessel for the men in the county to, or their husbands specifically, to plant their seed and bear their children. Anyways, that's kind of where like the whole Handmaid's Tale parallel comes in, because women are essentially treated as just vessels for bearing children and doing wifely duties. The Lord of the Flies aspect comes in with the actual grace year that these 16-year-old girls go on. So they're sent off into the bush, and quite a few of them end up dying. They essentially end up killing each other. It's not super graphic, but there's a lot that's alluded to what goes on. And in terms of like expelling their magic, you don't know really if the whole magic thing that they're grown to believe in, if it's actually a real thing. I personally don't think the whole magic thing is real. I think it's all just something that the men have come up with to make the women seem evil and to give them a reason to kill these women off and send them to do this grace year so they can kill each other off. Anyways, so far it's super interesting. I could probably talk about this forever because there's a lot of parallels, I think, to like the real world that we live in and how women are treated and such, and especially how women used to be treated more back in the day as well. So yeah, it's good. A little over halfway through that. So basically what I've been doing is every time I get to a new portion, a new season, I have been reading like a season or a chunk of this book. And then I've been also reading the Mindfuck series on my Kindle. There is one like big bind up of it, but essentially it's a series of 5 novellas. You can get them all on Kindle Unlimited if you're getting them separately, or you can pay money and get the one bind up of it. Anyway, so I'm just doing the Kindle Unlimited version, so I'm reading each one of the 5 books separately. So I've been going back and forth between reading one of the novellas and then reading a chunk of the Grace year. And then if you don't know what the Mindfuck series is about, it's essentially about a female serial killer who starts dating an FBI agent who is working on the case, trying to find out who she is, and he doesn't know it's her and whatnot. So I'm currently on the 2nd book in that series now, and so far I'm really liking it as well. If you see original covers for each of these little novellas, from the cover you would expect these books to be very like spice heavy and almost like more of an erotica sort of book. But so far in the first and a little bit of the second one that I've read, there's really not a ton of like explicit scenes. They allude to a little bit, but there's nothing too crazy so far. But I'm really liking the actual plot of the book too. It's giving sort of like Criminal Minds in the profiling aspect, because you get to see Logan's, who's the FBI agent. You get to see his other cases that he's working on as well, which is super interesting. And it also gives Dexter vibes for sure. And I love Dexter. It is one of my favorite crime shows. So I'm really enjoying this so far. So yeah, that's my plan for the day. I'm going to keep going back and forth. Currently, I'm working on finishing the 2nd book here, and then I'll flop back to the Grace year. But that is my plan for the day. I don't really have much else going on. I spent yesterday reading a little bit and doing some house chores and stuff, so I might do a little bit more house cleaning today, depending on how I feel. It is a little after noon. So yeah, that is my plan for the day, and I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. Alright, so little mini update. I finished the... Oh, there's a wasp in my Birkenstock. I'm just watching him hovering around. Sir? Please go out! You know, spiders don't really scare me. Can catch them, can remove them from my vicinity. Snakes don't scare me. Love them. Oh, I hit it. I think it's angry now. Wasps, on the other hand, no. I don't fuck with wasps. Get them away from me. Most of the time I can, like, if they're like in the general area, I can ignore them, but when they get up in my face, when they're up in my grill, nope. Anyways, I did end up finishing the 2nd novella from the Mindfuck series. It's getting really interesting. I'm excited to see where it goes, because we're like starting to get things are starting to get a little tense. They're starting to get a little bit hairy for our main characters here. So I did end up finishing that, and then I grabbed my iPad and I've been working on the Girls Weekend vlog that I was telling you guys about earlier. So I do want to try to get that up. It's edited, exported. I just need to do the thumbnail and upload it. And it'll probably go live tomorrow at some point. So that's what I've been doing. I also got so in the zone with my editing that I didn't even notice that it started pouring rain. Like, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if you can see any of that, but it is not a nice sunny summer day for this Labor Day weekend. It is raining, it is cold, but I'm here with my blanket. Might need to go get myself a coffee, although I did just drink a Red Bull, so maybe I won't have a coffee. Anyways, so that's what I've been doing. Like I said, I'm just going to finish up the thumbnail for this and get it uploaded onto YouTube. And then I'm going to pick up the Grace here and read the next chunk of that. And yeah, that's my plan. Wonder if it'll keep raining all day. I mean, all day. It's 4:39. It's been a few hours. It's been all day. I don't know what time it started raining at, but that's where we're at. These are my plans. I'll see you when I see you. Hi guys. So it is a couple days later, but I do have a bit of a reading update for you. So I did end up finishing The Grace here. Man, was it a freaking roller coaster. There are some scenes that are quite graphic, considering it's a young adult book, but it was so good. I ended up rating it 4.5 stars. It was so close to being a 5-star book, but for me, it just didn't give me that, like, 5-star feeling. I don't know. I'm very, like, picky with my 5-star ratings. Unless I finish the book and I immediately say, yep, this is 5 stars, chances are it's not a 5-star read. I think it drew a lot of parallels to kind of the world that we live in and how women have been treated, as maybe more in the past than now, but even so, it just had a very powerful kind of message about women and how we treat each other and how strong we can be and how if we work together we can actually be stronger rather than tearing each other down. Anyways, I don't know. I thought it was really good. So yeah, I did finish that book and I am just about done with reading the Mindfuck series. I am on chapter 6 of the last little novella here. A little over 100 pages left on my Kindle. I can already tell that this one is going to be 5 stars for me. 100%. Look up the trigger warnings. Yeah. I'm not super sensitive to, like, super graphic sexual scenes or super graphic, like, violence or anything like that. It doesn't really bother me all that much. But there were some parts in this book that were hard to read. So yeah, definitely go into this book looking at the trigger warnings. But otherwise, guys, it is so good. So yeah, that is my update for now. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the last 100 pages here. I don't know what I'm gonna pick up next. I think I might pick up the last book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. That's my update as per usual. I'll check in with you guys later. have only done a few updates this week. It's been busy. But I did finish the Mindfuck series. 5 stars. I knew it was going to be 5 stars, but now I'm telling you it's 5 stars. I mentioned it before, but obviously this is quite a graphic book. Look up the trigger warnings, etc., etc. But aside from that, the actual storyline and like the relationship development, character development, and like kind of found family aspects in this book, which I didn't expect there to be like a found family aspect to this book, but it was amazing. And then once I finished the Mindfuck series, I did start the Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. So I think I'm about 120-ish pages into that. It's broken up into different parts in the book. So I just finished part 1. And I think, because it's a super thick book, so I think what I'm going to do is, in between each of the parts of that book, I'm kind of reading other books as well. Now I've started Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. So this is a thriller as well, a crime thriller. Basically, I don't even know, I didn't know what it was really about before going into it, but basically it is about a famous comedian who has been supposedly murdered in his bathroom in his home, and the main character is his current wife, who is like 30 years younger than him, and obviously she's being blamed for his murder. I'm currently on chapter 17, which is about 115 pages in, or about 33% of the way through the book. So at this point, we have seen like what has transpired since I don't even know how to explain this. Why is my brain like lagging right now? I'm so bad at explaining book plots. But basically where we've gotten to is the beginning of the book, the murder happens, and we see the wife getting arrested and processed in the jail and everything, and she gets her lawyer to come in, and she's explaining to her lawyer what happened, and she's saying that she didn't do it. We've gotten that part, and then kind of there's also, this book is also broken down into separate like parts. So the first part was based on the wife and the actual murder and stuff. The second part that I'm currently in the middle of now, we are getting more of a backstory on the wife's like, is it the wife's childhood? I think it's wife's childhood, but it doesn't actually explicitly say that. I'm just thinking that in my head. I'm trying to like put pieces of the puzzle together, and I think they're different, but anyways, it doesn't matter. So I'm all over the place this morning. But the second part is kind of about an adjacent crime that I'm sure will be somehow connected to the murder, and this crime happened, gosh, I don't know, who knows how many years in the past, with another woman and her child. Basically 115 pages in, and I'm confused. Me trying to explain the whole freaking plot of the past 115 pages just to say I have no idea what's going on, but that's the point of thrillers, I think. So 10:30 a.m. and this is my plan for the day, and I'll chat later. I'm 50% of the way through now. I'm on page 176. So something that I kind of guessed earlier on, I'm like kind of right. I think. Kind of right, but like still confused right now. Because I don't want to say like a bomb was dropped, but like a piece of information was revealed. And like I said, it was kind of what I was thinking, but not exactly. And now it's just made me a little bit more confused. Just a whole squad of motorcycles. Anyways, an additional piece of information was also revealed, which makes what I had kind of predicted, like I was half right, but now I'm a little bit more confused as well. So, yeah, that's where we're at. So far, still confused. And that's where we're at right now. So, I'm gonna continue to drink my tea, continue to read. Supposedly I have about 3 hours left now, so I'll check back later. So I have officially finished Things We Do in the Dark. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it quite yet. It was good. There was different layers to it, which I can appreciate. It wasn't just about the initial crime that happened in the beginning of the book with the main character's husband dying. There was also, it was a lot about the main character's like backstory and life growing up and her childhood and how she became who she is. So yeah, I don't know. I liked it. It definitely isn't a 5-star for me. I think I'm between like a 3 and a 3.5 star. I don't know. It was very like middle of the road for me. It was very mid. I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. Anyways. So I think I mentioned earlier as well that I was thinking about going on like a walk or something, go get myself a little snack. Didn't end up doing that. What I did end up doing, I went to this cute little used bookstore near where I live here, and I took a bunch of my old books that I didn't feel like keeping on my shelf, took them in. The way that they do it is they will take your books and you can get a credit to get more books from them. So I took a bunch, like 2 bags full. I didn't get any footage, but 2 big bags full of books to the bookstore. And I picked up a couple new books. So I'll show you what I got. So the first book that I got is funny. This is actually a great find for me because I had literally just added this book to my Amazon wish list like a couple days ago maybe, and on Amazon the hardcover version of this retails for $37 and I got it for $5, and that is Mad Honey by Jennifer Finney Boylan and Jodi Picoult. I don't know if I doubt I'm pronouncing those correctly, but I've read one other book by Jodi Picoult. Oh, I'm butchering that name. But I've read one other book by her and I really, really liked it. I think I gave that one 4.5 or 5 stars. So I saw this one, a bit of a different genre than the other one that I read by her. The other one was like a literary fiction sort of book. This one is supposed to be more of a mystery, thriller, suspense book. But yeah, $37 originally, and I got it for $5. So that was really exciting for me. And then the other book that I got is Carrie Soto is Back, which this book I've put on and off my wish list a bunch of times because the storyline to me just seems meh. Like, I don't know if it is something I'm gonna like or not. However, it has really good ratings, so it interested me a lot, but I didn't want to pay full price for it. This one retails for $24.95, and I got it for $7. So that was also a steal. Not to mention, so this was $7 and this one was $5. So that's $12 for both these books. But since I brought a bunch of books into the store today, they actually gave me 50% off on these ones. So I paid $6 for both of these books. Super excited about those. I don't know when I'm going to read them, but that's my little book haul. That was very exciting to me. It's basically at 5 o'clock now. I'm gonna jump back into the Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Gonna read. I don't know if I'm gonna update. If I don't, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hi guys, so I just watched the last clip that I filmed, realized that I said that I would talk to you the next day. It is not the next day, it is like a week later. So it's been a bit of a crazy week. I think the day after the last clip that I filmed, Jess and I did end up going biking together, and then honestly the rest of the week I was just busy with work stuff. It was my birthday on Thursday. I had a couple horseback riding lessons this week, but otherwise I have been reading. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update. I did start Throne of Glass and quickly proceeded to slam through that book and finished it within like 24 hours. So that was amazing. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. Honestly, I was super tempted to give it a 5-star. I don't know, I'm still tempted. I still may end up changing my rating on it at some point. I'm not sure yet. But definitely, at the very least, it's a solid 4.5 star for me. But I've heard that the series only gets better. And then I proceeded to read the rest of Hero of Ages as well. I ended up giving Hero of Ages 3.5 stars. I will say, with the Mistborn trilogy, the first book I gave like 4.5 stars, and then the second and third book I ended up giving 3.5 stars, just because I felt like the second and third books definitely slowed down plot-wise. They became very heavy in the politics side of things. And there was still like action and adventure and everything, but it became a lot more about like the backstories and how things came to be in this world. I will say with Brandon Sanderson's books, like, he is just such a talented writer, and I don't know how his brain comes up with these magic systems and worlds and plots, because it is like, I actually had to watch a summary and like kind of book explanation after finishing Hero of Ages, because there was just so much complexity. Because as you're reading them, like, the books, especially the second and third books, they really don't make total sense until you get to the end of them, and all the different like puzzle pieces are finally put together, which I appreciate. Like, I can appreciate that aspect of Brandon Sanderson's books and his writing. For me, they were just a little bit slow. Like, when I'm reading fantasy, I like fast-paced fantasy, and Brandon Sanderson's books are definitely more of like epic fantasies, and they have a lot of the adventure and politics and the slower side of fantasy, which I appreciate. I would probably have a hard time recommending them to people unless I knew that the person that I'm recommending it to is super into those epic fantasies. One other thing that I wanted to talk about that I really enjoyed about the Mistborn trilogy, I don't know if all editions of the books have this, but with the second and third one, there's a chunk at the end of the books. It has like basically a glossary and an index at the end of the book, but then the second and third one also have a short little like couple page summary of the previous book. So like the second book had a little couple page summary of what happened in the first book, and the third book had a couple page summary of the first book and then a couple page summary of the second book. So before you start them, like if you were reading these as they were coming out and you couldn't remember what happened in the previous book, you could go to the end of the next book, read the little summary, and then start that book. I think we need to start a petition for all fantasy books to have a little plot summary of the previous book, because it was just so genius to me. Like, why wouldn't you have a little plot summary of the previous book so that the reader doesn't have to reread an entire book to remember what happened? They can just go through the plot summary and then start the next book. I don't know. It was just so genius, and I really, really appreciated that. I think I'm gonna end this video here. I don't know when my next video is going to be out. We are leaving for Scotland in a little less than a week now. So the following week is going to be basically just full of me getting the house cleaned up and ready for us to leave, getting myself packed. That is everything I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.